Hey, it's Emily. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for the launch of this channel where I will be sharing stories, real and raw stories with you about being a mom, CEO, and life. I started my now multiple seven-figure company when I was 19 years old and found myself as a new mom and kind of faced with the decision of, do I follow the path that everybody wanted me to follow, or do I create my own reality? Do I create my own freedom? Well, I chose the latter, and I'm going to share a lot more of that story with you today. Growing up, I always struggled to connect with other kids, especially kids my age. I remember always feeling so weird or so different and like nobody really understood me. I can remember being in 6th grade and waking up at 5 a.m. and doing a Denise Austin, which is like old time workout, at 5 a.m. in 6th grade. And I remember telling one of my friends that I did this, and the look on their face was like, what the heck are you doing? So I always felt like I didn't fit in, and especially with kids my age. Since I can remember, I had businesses. I would wash people's car in our neighborhood, I would babysit, and I remember also being so frustrated that people didn't take me more serious. I was 10 years old going to their door like, let me babysit your child, and today, as a mom, I now understand why they didn't jump over that decision to hire me at 10 years old. But I was always so frustrated. I wanted to be older. I wanted to be taken more seriously. And I had my businesses that I wanted to be successful. I always was coming up with new ways to make money and to go out there and work. My parents always taught me growing up that if you wanted something, you could have anything you wanted, but you had to go make it happen yourself. So when I was 15, I had a lot of goals. I wanted to travel the world, I wanted to buy a car, and I thought I was going to pay for my own college. We'll get to that rest of that story later about what happened with college. But when I was 15, I started my first official real business. I set up in this elderly community that had like 200 houses of people all over the age of 55, and I made flyers that said, I'll do anything. I will organize your house, I'll clean your house, I'll run errands for you, I'll do anything. And I passed them out to every single house in that community over like a 2-day period. And I was completely booked with clients and people who wanted me to come to their house. I way undercharged, like $8 an hour or something silly. But that was my first real business and my first experience working with clients. I couldn't even drive yet at the time. So my parents would drop me off after school and I would take a Razor scooter and I would ride from one house to the next and do like 2 jobs a day after school and then fill my weekends with jobs. I made enough money in that job to go on an amazing trip across the United States with my grandma, and then I also bought my own first car, Honda Civic, but I paid for it completely myself. And I remember I was so grateful later on that my parents made me do that my parents made me buy my own car and didn't just give it to me. But most of my friends at the time, their parents were just buying them cars. And I didn't understand why my parents wouldn't just do that for me, and then I could take the money and put it more strategically, because I still wanted to make the money. I wasn't only working just to get the car. But now I'm so grateful that my parents taught me growing up that if you want something, you can go make anything happen, because that's translated over into so much more that I do today. By the time I was 17, I sold that Honda Civic and took that cash and moved out of my house on my own. And from then on, I didn't ask for a single penny of help. Because I chose to leave early, my parents really didn't want me to, and so they wouldn't have helped me. And it was my decision, and if I was going to go do that, I had to take care of myself. So from then on, I always had businesses or little side gigs. I would do a lot of babysitting, and I also started this organizing company when I lived in San Diego, where I'd go in people's houses, I'd organize their house. Then I started working with like hoarders, and it got a little bit too much because I was like throwing their stuff away on the side, because I'm like, why do you have all this stuff? So I always had businesses, and I've never had a real job. I've had babysitting jobs, but I've always worked for myself, set my own schedule, been able to create that freedom for myself. During this time, I also started college. I was given the narrative all my life growing up that college was the way to go, that you could be an entrepreneur, you could go pursue your dreams, but you first had to follow the rules. You first had to get that degree because, and I quote, I've heard this so many times I can repeat it, if anything happens, you always have that degree to fall back on. And so that's what I was fed my whole life. And so I went to college, not because I wanted to at all. Like I would have rather started my businesses and kept going in that direction, but I thought that was what I was supposed to do. And I started college. And then at 19, I got pregnant, and it was a surprise. I was with the man who I'm married to now with 3 kids, and I knew that we wanted to have kids. So we were super excited, but of course, super scared. It wasn't a part of the plan. I'm a planner, and this was like a huge wrench in the plan. But I decided I'm going to still create that life of my dreams. I'm going to take this reality. And, of course, now looking back, I know that it happened for a reason, exactly when it did happen. But at the time, it didn't feel like that. And if I look back going through it, it was very scary. And I also, came from and come from a family where that was not what you were supposed to do. You needed to go to college, you needed to get married, you needed to check those boxes before you even considered having kids. So at the time, and it's still like very raw for me because I was very alone. Everybody was telling me, this is going to determine this future for you where you will struggle financially, you will have no freedom, like you're going to regret this. And it was basically like, your life is over, was the message I was getting at that time because I was going to have a baby at 20 years old. I hadn't finished college. I was a nanny. I was making maybe $20 an hour, didn't have a lot of money. My husband and I, well, we weren't married then, but lived in an 800 square foot tiny master bedroom that we turned into a little studio with a kitchen on our patio in San Diego. It was not the ideal conditions for having a baby, but we knew we could make it work. So in the middle of my pregnancy, when I got over that initial fear, that initial shock, I was committed that I was going to create my reality. There was things like being able to travel. I knew I was still going to be able to do that. Being able to make enough money to not only just support our family, but thrive. I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there, but I knew I was going to make that possible. So I, of course, started a business. I started getting into the online space at this point because I knew I was pregnant. I was getting more pregnant by the day. I was going to have a baby soon. I wasn't going to be able to leave the house as much. So I fell into the world of being a virtual assistant. And this is what kickstarted my whole company today because I fell into this online industry that at the time, looking back, I didn't even know this was a thing. Nobody told me about this. And I started working for these clients. I didn't really know anything at the time. I could do basic admin things. I was a good worker, but I knew nothing. So I started taking on clients and I taught myself everything. YouTube videos, but also through experience. I would get a client who'd have me do something new. I learned how to do it with them, and then I'd be able to take that and get a new client doing that thing. And so I just built on my skills until they became more and more valuable. And eventually I started doing Facebook ads. And that was kind of by chance. I had a client who was like, hey, I'm doing this virtual summit coming up. Can you run ads for it? And I was like, sure. So I taught myself how to set up the ads. I taught myself how to optimize them, how to find the audiences, all those pieces. And through that experience, I started getting good at it. And I realized I love this. And this comes so naturally to me. So that's what started my kickstart into the marketing world. And from there, I started doing Facebook ads only. I got very specific with the clients I was working on. I was helping them with their marketing. I was helping them with their marketing strategy, and I was helping them with their Facebook ads. Now, at the same time, my son was born. I was still in college because I was trying to keep everybody happy in my life. And then I had this business. And every week I was like getting new clients and I was building up this business. And I remember it came to a point where we actually moved, and I created it possible for us to move because I had a job that I could make money no matter where we were. So we were able to move from Southern California to Northern California. And when we moved, I was like, I'm not going back to college. This is costing me money to go to college, and this over here is making me more and more money every single week. So I could always go back to college, but I think I need to ride this. And, my family and my friends were like, I think you're making a mistake. And are you sure? Now, of course, once you achieve success, everybody then is like, oh, you did the right thing. But then I really had to take that leap and trust in myself. And I knew something has to give. I'm a mom. I'm trying to grow a business, and I'm just still doing these classes, which are dumb because I'm not even going to go pursue what's being taught to me in these classes. So I chose to go all in on my business. I was able to, all on my own, build my business up to making about $20,000 a month. And to me, this was like crazy amount of money. Like I never imagined I would be able to make that much money. And for the first time, I can remember seeing those numbers that I would track in like this spreadsheet and kind of just looking at that total number from that month and going, I can build $1 million business. Like that's not that far away. I am, a fourth of the way there. And I didn't have a team. I was completely doing it on my own. I was, working in between nap time and late at night because I had a baby. And so I remember that's what kind of unlocked the potential for me. At 22 years old, we had our second baby, my daughter, and my kids are always a pivotal moment of my life. Like each one of them has pushed me to go and do something bigger, to really question my time, question what I'm doing. And so when I had that second baby, I realized I can't keep doing all this on my own. That I had kind of hit the threshold of this is how big I'm going to grow it if it's just me. And that's when I opened up the possibility of I got to build a team. And that's the one thing that I really had no idea how to do. It's one thing to build a business where you're in full control and you can make every decision. You know exactly what's happening. You know the delivery your clients are getting. You know every move. You know the money coming in, the money going out. That's a lot easier. But to make that jump to say, okay, now I'm going to start trusting other people to deliver to my clients or to help me grow my business. And then I have to pay them and I have to make sure I have enough money and I have that liability. That's a whole new game. And so when I was 22, that was a couple years after I started my business, I started hiring my first team members. Making that decision to start building my team was definitely jumping into the unknown more than I ever have before. And I have learned so much, enough for many more videos to talk about what I've learned building a team. But today I have successfully built a team of 25 people. We've managed over $108 million in Facebook ads. Today, I don't actually manage any ads myself. I'm very much a leader and leading my team in the high-level components of the business. It's insane to look back at how fast things moved, how fast my team was built, the types of clients we've been able to work with, the names I've been behind, people that I would listen to their podcasts when I first started my business and look up to them have become our clients and people that are in my space. And if there's one thing to just take away from this story from the last 5 years, it's really that anything is possible when you are willing to put in the work to get there. And so going back to that core value my parents taught me growing up of like, you can have anything you want, but you are the only person who can make that happen. That's carried over into my life today and is the core reason for my success. I have 3 babies now. I'm able to be home, see them at lunchtime, see them when they come home from school, have a multi-million-dollar company, make an incredible impact way beyond what I thought I was going to do. And to be honest, I'm just getting started. Like I'm only 5 years into this. Wait till 15 years from now. But I've been able to create everything everybody said I wouldn't have, being able to travel, being able to have enough money and not finish college and still thrive. All those things that people told me is not possible because you're doing something different, I proved was possible. But that's only because I was willing to say, here's where I'm going, and here's my definition of success and how I'm going to get there. And I don't care what you guys say. And that's easier said than done. There's times where you doubt yourself and you're like, am I making a big mistake? But you have to trust that and you have to be willing to go after, and you're going to make mistakes. You are going to fail. But the more you do that, there's going to be success that also comes out of that. I believe so strongly in empowering you guys to make sure you can go create that life of your dreams. So come on this journey with me. I'm going to have so much content around growing a business, being a mom and growing a business, and life in general. And I make a lot of mistakes. I share those very openly so that you can learn from them. And I give you a really transparent, real, raw view into the behind the scenes of my life. And I absolutely love doing that and making that impact. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's going to be so much more here for you. And I am just so excited that you're here.